What up, y'all? This your boy Manny, and this is another episode of Talking Sports with Manny. Let's get it. So, guys, I have a special episode for you guys. I have Frank Anselem on an interview, and this guy right here, he's a 4-star recruit. He's a top 85 player in the nation. This guy right here is a beast, man. He's 6'10", 220 pounds, played for Prolific Prep, was a teammate of Jalen Green, and he has tons of schools, up to 20 schools looking at him right now, and he's narrowed it down to 6 schools. So we're going to try to see if we can get the school that he's interested in going to on this interview. So guys, check it out. Hope you guys enjoy.
Hey, what's up, Frank? What's going on?
How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
No problem. It's all good.
Sure. Man, so I understand that you was born in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Did you play ball here? High school ball here?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Good stuff, man. So tell me, what are your experiences playing high school ball here?
Far so good. It's been pretty good. It was a smooth transition. I've always been blessed to be in the right opportunity. So I've not had drawbacks or negative influences around me. It's been positive vibes and people that always help me succeed. So far it's been really, really good.
That's awesome, bro. Now tell me this: what is your most memorable game in high school?
I probably say my most memorable game was about last year, the last game of the season. Second to the last game of the season, I had 7 dunks that game, and that was a school record for most dunks in a game. And it was a home game too, so I probably say that's my most memorable game.
Okay, good deal. Now I know you've played with a lot of great teammates. Who is your favorite teammate and why?
My favorite teammate probably is Jalen Green because he's just so good. He just makes people around him better, and he makes the game come easier for you because he's a very good scorer. He's a good leader. And he just makes the game so easy for everybody. He's a hard worker too, and he wants to compete. He wants to win. So he just makes you want to play hard and take your game to another level.
Absolutely. Now, you are a hot commodity, man. Everybody wants you, man. You've gotten offers from Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, Miami, Maryland, Minnesota, New Mexico, Notre Dame, Oregon, San Diego State, Seton Hall, Stanford, Syracuse, Texas, West Virginia, WKU, WSU. That's a lot of schools, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I know that you've narrowed it down to 6.
Yeah.
Who are your top 6 right now?
What's crazy is those were not even my first set of schools. I had about way more offers than that. The first time I was down to a final 3 of Alabama, Georgia, and LSU, but I had to re-open my recruitment. So when I re-opened my recruitment, all these brand new schools got involved. So that's why I had to pick a brand new 6 from all of them. But right now, my top 6 were Kentucky, Western Kentucky, Syracuse, Arkansas, San Diego State, and Seton Hall.
Nice. Yeah, I know a great center at WKU right now. A very good friend of ours, Nigerian, Charles Bassey. Yeah, y'all will make a nice combo.
Yeah.
But out of these top 6, what's your top 1?
Everybody knows, without even saying the top 1, Kentucky is the school that everybody wants to be because they have a great track record. With
Absolutely.
players going to the NBA. They have a very good facilities. They have a Hall of Fame coach. They're one of the best teams in the in America. They're always competing for national championship every year. So I feel
Absolutely.
like even if you don't have interest in Kentucky, that has to be like everyone's top school is Kentucky. But
Absolutely.
right up there too is Syracuse too. They have a Hall of Fame coach in Jim Boeheim.
Yep.
He's really good. They're way up there in upstate New York. I mean, it can get really cold, but it's also a good program. And they have Seton Hall down in New Jersey, in Milwaukee, New Jersey. That's also a good program too. And I'm
Absolutely.
here in the West Coast. San Diego State is a 2-hour plane ride away from me. So that's a pretty good program too.
Hey Frank, you answered that question beautifully, man. You're getting good. You're getting very good at this, man.
Yeah.
So what's the best part of your game?
I'll probably say it's my versatility. On offense, I can do a whole bunch of things. I'm still trying to, make the mid-range shot consistently, stretch the floor, score in the post, offensive rebound, and on defense, I can guard basically 1 through 5. That's something I feel like I can do consistently on a night in, night out basis. So I'll just say it's my overall versatility and leadership. I'm a hard worker. I want to win, and I'll do whatever it takes to win.
That's awesome, man. Like the game is changing and they're bringing big men out,
Yeah.
To the outside, pick and rolls, So if you're versatile and able to move around, that's a very great asset.
That's for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, who in the NBA do you think that you model your game after?
In the NBA, I'd probably say Kyle Anthony Towns. Even though he shoots way more threes than I do, but I'd probably say, we have the same build. He runs the floor, scores in the post, faces up, block shots on defense, rebounds. I'd probably say Kyle Anthony Towns.
That's a very good comp right there. I like that.
Sure.
He's a beast, man. I remember, I'm a Laker fan and a Wizards fan.
Yeah.
I remember a game against the Wizards. Man, this guy was, he was just doing it inside out, inside, outside.
Yeah.
He is underrated. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA. Even though that he's been an all-star, he just does not get the credit that he
especially
deserves.
in the NBA, because once you play for not, I don't want to say a bad team, because no team is bad in the NBA, but if you play for not so good team, people are gonna take you for granted. It's the same way they have Devin Booker out west playing with the Suns. People think it's underrated, but this is a dude that scores almost 25 a game every season. But just because he plays with the Phoenix Suns, no one cares because he plays for a team that's not so good. So, he don't get the credit he deserves. And it's like that for, all these teams in the bottom half of the league, teams that don't make the playoffs. Most of the best players. They might get the money, but, the respect and the credit deserved, they don't really get it. So that's what I feel about that.
Absolutely. Who are your top 5 centers of all time? Now, this is your list. There's no right or wrong answer. Just your top 5 centers of all time.
My top 5 centers of all time. In no particular order, I'm gonna just get 5 random names. I'd probably say everybody got to go Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because he was just so unguardable in his time. I got to go Kareem. I got to go Will Chamberlain, because he's a beast. He owns like every single record in the NBA. I got to go with Chamberlain. I got to go Shaq, because Shaq was so dominant. He was just so hard to guard.
That's 3.
Yeah. I gotta go Bill Russell too, because he just won so many. He won so many championships. Bill Russell was so tough. And my last center, I'm gonna just come down to somebody murdering. I'm gonna go. I want to say Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan is so underrated. He has 5 championships too.
Yep.
Tim Duncan is really good.
Yep. Even though I consider Tim Duncan a power
forward, yeah,
but he can definitely play center.
Yeah, for sure.
He played center, the latter part of his career.
If I take Tim Duncan out, I probably put in Hakeem Olajuwon in there.
Oh yeah, man, you gotta have the dream.
Yeah, I gotta.
You gotta have the dream, man. That guy right there, his footwork is bar none the best I've ever seen in my life.
For sure.
The dream shake.
Gotta go Hakeem.
Beautiful list, man. Beautiful list. Now, this topic right here, man, I really want to get your take on it. You've seen players that are, going from high school to the G League to get into the NBA. That's something new that's happening now. Usually you see some high school kids go overseas, play a year or two, and then enter the NBA. Some of them don't want to go to college route, and then you're seeing a lot of kids going to college playing 1 year and then they're leaving. Okay, but I want to get your take on these kids that are going straight from the NBA to the G League. What's your take on that?
For me, really, I feel like, if you have the talent, you just know that it's something you can do. There's no point going to college. And
Right.
if you know you can do it, go ahead and do it. And there's not gonna be a whole bunch of, just because like one or two kids do it doesn't mean that the NCAA has to be scared of none. It's kids that are very, very, very good at basketball. Like these are like
Absolutely.
the best of the best, the most elite kids. Like my teammate just did it from last season, Jalen Green. He went to the G League, and all of a sudden it's a big deal. I mean, you're not gonna have a lot of people doing it. Maybe you might have like 5 of like maybe 25 top kids in the country, and that's like about 20% of the best kids. That's still a big number, But I just feel like it's something that's always gonna happen. The NCAA can't do nothing about it. Nobody wants to go to college because they feel like when they go to college, they work the kids too much. They don't get paid. Why would I go to college and spend a year or two when I can just go to the G League, still get paid? But now I'm going to the NBA anyways. And, they, I feel like they have in the back of their head that they know they're going to the NBA anyways. So why would I want to go to college and just do all this work, and while I can just go somewhere else and just train and get to the NBA anyway? So it's only kids that have it in the back of their head that they're very, very sure that they're going to the NBA that do it. But if you're not sure, I feel like there's no point. Just go to college. Even if you do after 2 years, you can always come back and get a degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my whole take on this whole topic is, I remember the days. I'm a Maryland Terrapin fan. Back in the days when we had Juan Dixon and Lonnie Baxter and all these great Terp players.
Yeah.
You saw guys play 3 to 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the norm. 3 to 4 years and they come out. And then when this one and done thing started happening, you see people come in and then they leave, and then teams or programs can't build dynasties like the Florida team that won 2 in a row. Some of those other great teams out there, Duke teams. So now it's like you might get like four and 5 star guys come in, then in a year or two they're gone, and you're starting over. So I'm like, man, if the kids want to go to the NBA from high school, let them go. If they want to go to G League, let them go.
Yeah.
But I do feel like that the college game is a stepping stone to help develop people and develop people's skills and everything. So,
for sure. It is.
So it's like to each his own. I just think that the players should have the option. And not forced. Oh, you gotta go to college, and then you gotta go for at least 1 year, and then you can enter the draft. Some of these guys don't want to go for that 1 year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then for me personally, I would like to see players stay at least 2 years.
Yeah, probably do like how football
go,
does it. Football, you gotta stay.
Yeah.
You gotta stay for 3 years, or
I love it.
It's something like football. Yeah, it makes sense. They can do it like if you go to college, you must stay for 2 years and then you can leave for the draft, something like that. Or don't go to college at all. You either go to college for 2 years, or you don't go at all. So
right, because you're going to see the best out of these kids. They're going to come out there, give it their all. Those who really want to go and build that culture and that environment. You see them playing for the game and the passion and for the right reasons, opposed to they're making me do this, so I'm just gonna do this.
And they don't have this mentality of I'm only here for 1 year anyways. I'm gonna just come in.
Exactly.
I'm gonna just come in, get my numbers, and just leave, something like that.
Exactly. So it's kind of messing up the game, but I think that they're gonna come up with something that works for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So man, I got one more question for you.
Yeah, for sure.
One more question: are you willing to play for Team Nigeria?
I mean, it doesn't matter who you ask, as long as you're a Nigerian. If they ask you to, represent your country, you're always going to say yes, because it's an honor to, represent your country. So, shoot, if Nigerian gets on the phone and calls me and like, hey, Frank, we need you to show up right now, definitely, all they just got to do is,
I can put in a word.
Just, figure out the logistics, and for sure.
Absolutely, man. There's no greater honor than that name on the front of that jersey
Yeah.
representing your country. I wish I was skilled enough to play for my country, but hey, I'm willing to help any way that I can. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on this interview.
No problem.
And I pray for success for you, and I pray that you choose the right school.
Thank you.
Get out there, kill it, man, and looking forward to seeing you at the next level as well.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
much.
All right,
have a good day.
All right, brother. Peace out.
Bye.
So let's switch gears and talk a little football. I want to talk about the wide receivers of the NFC East. We're going to go team by team. We'll start with the New York Giants. Last year, their notable wide receivers were Sterling Shepard, who had 57 catches for 576 yards, 3 touchdowns. Golden Tate, who was suspended for 4 games, but had 49 catches, 676 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That's rather very productive. Having a quarterback that's not seasoned and that lacks experience. Those are pretty good numbers. Darius Slayton, which was a gem, a steal for the Giants. This guy right here had 48 catches for 740 yards and 8 touchdowns. Not bad at all. So speaking of Darius Slayton, man, he was a 5th-round pick out of Auburn. That's a great find for the Giants. He was very productive as a rookie. They lost Cody Latimer. I'm not sure of who else they lost as a wide receiver. They re-signed Corey Coleman and Cody Core, who was their special teams ace. In the undrafted free agency market, they were able to get Benjamin Victor and Austin Mack from Ohio State. A Giants fan wanted KJ Hill. They didn't get KJ Hill, but they were able to get an Ohio State receiver. Moving forward, based on the guys that they're already paying, Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate getting some decent money, and Darius Slayton, I guess the Giants feel like they don't really need to add to their wide receiver group or core for the simple fact that they use a lot of tight ends in Red Ellison and Evan Ingram, Caden Smith. So they use their tight ends a lot. And Saquon Barkley does catch a lot of passes. So that rounds up the Giants receiving core, their wide receiver core right there. Ever wanted to make a podcast but never really knew how? Well, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. There's a creation tool that allows you to record right from your phone or computer, and as well as editing as well. Anchor will distribute your podcast to places such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also monetize from your podcast. You can download the Anchor app for free at the App Store, or you can go to anchor.fm to get started. So on to the Eagles. Despite the Eagles not having a wide receiver who put up over 500 yards, Carson Wentz was still able to throw for over 4,000 yards. Now, the Eagles struggled to find a wide receiver to put on the field because, they had guys like Alshon Jeffries miss 6 games with injury. Nelson Aguilar missed 5 games with injury, and the list goes on and on. Then they were able to draft a wide receiver last year, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who didn't pan out. He had 10 catches for 169 yards and 1 touchdown. The Eagles' top receiver was Alshon Jeffrey, and he had 43 catches for 490 yards, 4 touchdowns. Nelson Aguilar, who Eagles fans hate, had 39 catches for 363 yards and 3 touchdowns. They had receivers such as Greg Ward Jr., who played in 7 games. They had Deshaun Jackson, who they hoped to get a lot from, but he was only able to give them 3 games. It's unsure what they're going to do with Deshaun Jackson. I don't know if he's coming back or not, if he's going to retire, if he's going to get cut. So we'll see what happens there. They even brought back Jordan Matthews. He played 2 games. And Robert Davis, he played 3 games. So they were really scrapping for wide receivers. I mean, it was terrible. But on the flip side, the Eagles do get to use their tight ends a lot. And Miles Sanders, the promising rookie last year running back, he was able to get over 500 yards receiving. So that did help to soften the blow. So what the Eagles did was, this draft, they went after receiver tough. And not only did they go after receiver tough, they knew the kind of receivers that they wanted to go after. After not signing a receiver in the free agency market, they were able to draft Jalen Reagor in the first round out of TCU, pick number 21. Then later on in the draft in the 5th round, they got another speedster by the name of John Hightower from Boise State. Then in the 6th round, they were able to get another receiver, Quez Watkins from Southern Miss. The theme was get receiver, but get the receivers that have speed and that fit into what they're trying to do. So that's what they were able to do. And it didn't end there. In the undrafted free agency market, they were able to get Khalil Tate from Arizona. He's a 6'2" wide receiver, 215 pounds, nice size, to help them out, because they really want to put together a receiving core that's going to be healthy in the first place. And number 2, production. Health and production is what the Eagles are looking for out of their receiver core. They were able to get another receiver as well. His name is Mensa Bailey from Morgan State. Shout out to the HBCU. One of my very best friends went to Morgan State, so it's pretty awesome when you see HBCU players getting drafted or getting signed to have a chance at making an impact. So that's what the receiver core is looking like for the Eagles. I can't really speculate on the depth chart, but what I am hearing is that Alshon Jeffrey is a big part of what the Eagles are trying to do. So that's the Eagles right there in a nutshell. All right, now we move on to the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys had a nice passing attack this past season. Dak Prescott was short of 5,000 yards passing. He had 2,000-yard receivers and almost had a third one in Randall Cobb. They were led by Amari Cooper, who had 79 catches for 1,000 yards, 189, and 8 touchdowns. Michael Gallup, he had 66 catches for 1,100 yards plus, 6 touchdowns. Randall Cobb had 828 yards receiving on 55 catches for 3 touchdowns. They had Tavon Austin, who's like a gadget type player, as part of their group. They have a promising young guy in the name of Devin Smith. They really love him out there. So those are their top guys, and they didn't lose much in free agency. Yes, they lost Randall Cobb, who was a big part of their team, but they were able to replace him in the draft by drafting CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb fell in the draft because the Oakland Raiders chose Ruggs first. So with that being said, they were able to replace Randall Cobb with CeeDee Lamb. That's the big signing or the big acquisition. Now, they were also able to get some guys in the undrafted free agency. They were able to get guys like Aaron Parker from Rhode Island. They got Stephen Gurdy from Mississippi State. That's actually a very good pickup in Stephen Gurdy because he was a guy that should have went at least in the 4th, 5th round. But he went undrafted, and they were able to get him. Hope it pans out for him. So that kind of wraps up what the Cowboys are doing. Like I said, they didn't have to do much because they're pretty much bringing back their same core. Amari Cooper and Gallup are their top 2 guys, and you replace Randall Cobb with CeeDee Lamb, which is a major upgrade. So their receiving core only got better. All right, now let's talk about the Washington Redskins. They had a unique situation this past season. They came into the season or into the summer with the expectations of Josh Doctson taking a step, and as well as Paul Richardson taking a step. Paul Richardson being a big free agent signing for them, not name-wise, but money-wise. They paid Paul Richardson quite a bit to come in and compete for a starting position. And last season, the Redskins were expecting big things out of Paul Richardson. That didn't happen. He was slowed by injuries, got hurt again, so they had to let him go. And then before the season started, the Redskins cut Josh Doctson. They just didn't want to deal with the inconsistency of his play. So going into the season, it was Trey Quinn as a starter in the slot, Paul Richardson on the outside, and then Terry McLaurin. They gave Terry McLaurin a starting position because they loved some of the things they saw out of him. So nobody really knew what to expect out of Terry McLaurin. Now, after that first game against the Eagles, Redskins fans knew that they had something special in Terry McLaurin. The guy is fast. He almost had 1,000 yards. He sat out 2 games due to injury. Had he played that last game of the season, he definitely would have had 1,000 yards. He was targeted 93 times, caught 58 catches for 919 yards, 7 touchdowns. The next receiver on the team, stat-wise, was Kelvin Harmon. He played 16 games, but he played more towards the end of the year. He became a starter and played very well. He was targeted 44 times and caught 30 passes for 365 yards. No touchdowns, but he was that receiver that made a lot of plays. He can catch the ball in, tough corners. He can win those jump balls. He made some spectacular catches. He moved the chains. So he was a nice possession receiver for the Redskins. Steven Sims Jr. played 16 games, but like Harmon, played a lot towards the end of the year. Those last 4 or 5 games, he became a starter in the slot and played exceptionally well. He had 34 catches for 310 yards and had 4 receiving touchdowns. Also had a rushing touchdown and a kickoff return as well. So he's just a playmaker. You put the ball in his hands. You put the ball in his hands in space. Steven Sims can definitely do some damage. And then you have Paul Richardson, who had 245 yards, and that's in 10 games. He just didn't perform like they thought that he would. Trey Quinn, 198 yards. So the receiving core was very, very, very poor, very, very bad. And, they had to do what they had to do. Cam Sims didn't do anything last year. So receiver was a major part of what the Redskins were trying to improve on this free agency and draft. In free agency, they went after Amari Cooper. That didn't work out. So going into the draft, receiver was definitely a position to target. They were able to get Antonio Gibson, who's a hybrid player. He's a running back / wide receiver. So I don't really know if he takes more snaps at receiver or running back. Either way, he's a weapon. He's a playmaker. Then you have Antonio Gandy Golden. This guy right here is 6'4", 220 pounds. Ran a slow 40 at the combine, but the 40 speed doesn't, necessarily mean that a player is going to be good or bad in the NFL. I like his upside. He reminds me a lot of Kenny Galladay, just a very big-bodied receiver with lots of skills and upside. Then they signed Corey Lattimore in the free agent market. Then they were able to pick up Isaiah Wright from Temple as an undrafted free agent. Now, what this depth chart might look like is Terry McLaurin, of course, number 1, second-year player. Kelvin Harmon, number 2, second-year player. Steve Sims in the slot, second-year player. AGG, first-year player. Latimer is pretty much the only veteran that's on the team right now. And then you have guys like Trey Quinn, Cam Sims, fighting for a spot with Isaiah Wright, who's very explosive. So the Redskins did accomplish their goals in this offseason. I believe that they add another receiver next year, whether it's in the first or second round. And with that third round pick that they received for Trent Williams, don't be surprised if they trade that third and a second to trade back into the first round to draft a receiver. But I say all this to say that the Redskins and the Eagles are the teams with the young core of receivers. Then the Giants and the Cowboys are the teams that have the vets the vets. Because, they went with the guys that they've already paid or groomed. And then the Redskins and the Eagles needed major upgrades at wide receiver and were able to do it in the draft. So it's going to be interesting to see how things shake up. I believe that the Cowboys have the best receiver in the NFC East in Amari Cooper, and the Redskins have the second best wide receiver in the NFC East in Terry McLaurin. I would love to hear what you guys think. Thank you guys for checking out the episode, and be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter, and my handle is @TSWithManny. And on IG, same thing, @TSWithManny. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys, man. Let's get it. Hope you guys are staying safe out there.